Welcome everybody. Welcome to White City Place Connect, where we're offering occupiers of White City Place a live platform from which to learn and engage from the comfort and safety of your own home. Welcome everybody. We're going to begin seated today. So if you have a cushion or a couple of blocks that you may want to use to elevate the pelvis, you could sit cross-legged or sit on the shins, anywhere where you can maintain a nice tall spine without having to use too much muscular effort to hold yourself here. And if that means leaning against a wall, a bed, or a sofa, just for the settling part of our practice, then go ahead. We'll turn our palms down on the thighs. Lengthen up through the back of the spine, back of the neck, base of the skull. Travel the awareness over the crown of the head. Facial muscles soften down from hairline to chin as the eyes close lightly over the eyeballs and your gaze turns inwards towards the heart. So shifting your sense of I am from head to heart. Shifting your sense of I amness from head to heart. Picking up a gentle awareness of the breath that's here. When we talk about non-attachment, it's interesting for us to inquire about the breath, perhaps not really being ours. The breath arises from nothing, dissolves back into nothing, and each breath is unique. We can't recall a past breath and hang on to it. We can't manifest a future breath. So the breath that we have right now is here. It only exists in the present moment and then it's gone. So when we follow the breath, we move from present moment to present moment. We cannot capture the breath. And the breath over time will become our most treasured friend and companion. So much information it has for us. And its direct link towards the nervous system is what allows us to make changes through the autonomic nervous system. The way we breathe will literally affect the way we live. It will affect the quality of our thoughts, and the quality of our thoughts, the quality of our life. Very gently open your eyes. We're going to come off any props you may have. Stretch the legs out. Just lean back a little bit and you can give your legs a little bounce if you want to. Just release the knees if you've been in a cross-legged position. And then take a square pose. So we're going to take the right shin in front of the left and walk the ankles underneath the knees. Maybe walk the sit bones back 1 and 2. Take the fingertips by the hips and imagine you're leaning on a wall behind you. Turn your right palm up and raise the arm up by your ear. Actually, the same arm, right arm. Rotate the shoulder head forward and the palm faces out. Look up towards the fingers as you inhale. And as you exhale, slide the shoulder blade down the back. Scoop the armpit forward. Do that 2 more times. Inhaling, roll the shoulder head forward. Feel how the rib cage glides over the lungs. And exhale. Set the shoulder blade back onto the rib cage. Inhale, rotate the shoulder head forward. Comes right up by the jaw, the palm faces away. Maybe you look towards the little finger. And then exhale. Drop the arm bone down, set the shoulder blade. Inhale, lift up through the right side of your body. And as you come into your lateral stretch, feel this sliding, gliding movement that the fascia enables us to do. So the fascia is the connective tissue that runs around the organs, through the muscle fibers. It literally connects everything to everything. Let's turn our gaze towards the left knee and float the right fingertips onto the floor as if you were reaching far away. Lengthen, maybe you pop up onto the tips of your left hand and the ribcage rotates a little. Keep the weight pouring down to the right sit bone. And feel this sliding, gliding element. So the fascia is tough, fluid-filled, viscoelastic sensory system, which we once thought was just a kind of packing element around the organs. Take the arm back over by the head and release the arm around and down. But what it enables us to do is to move fluidly and gracefully. It's almost like the oil in the car, or the oil in a machinery that will stop the hard surfaces from grinding against one another. It also manages the force that runs through your body. So really, really important stuff that pervades our whole self. Let's have a feel into that this session. So turn the left palm up, reach the arm up by the ear. Rotate the shoulder forward so it comes up, turn the palm away. Inhale, look towards the little finger. And as you exhale, turn the armpit towards you, set the shoulder blade against the upper back. Inhaling, so feel this sliding, gliding action as the ribcage and the shoulder blades slide. Exhale. One more time. Inhaling, so there's an internal rotation, an external rotation. Lift up and over to the left side of the body. Come into your lateral stretch. So we're stretching over through to the left side. Feel how the liver, part of the stomach and the lungs slide and glide through and around the fascia, the rib cage. Look towards your right knee. Reach across with your left fingers as if you were to reach something far away. Maybe tip up onto the right fingertips and rotate the rib cage. Open up the chest, bring the arm over by the ear and come all the way back up. Let's change the cross of the legs. So you're going to lean back and just simply change them. Turn the palms up and float both arms into this wide V shape. And then rotate both shoulder heads forward. It's going to feel a little uncomfortable. So you're hunching here. Turn the palms away, little squeeze. And then slide the shoulder blades down the back and scoop the armpits forward, turn the palms. So there's this breadth and space across the collarbones into the heart center. So there's an external rotation here in your upper arms. Let's try to keep that. And turn the wrists and palms forward. So you may want to have a little look as you do that. So the upper arms stay externally rotated. The forearms are rotating inwards a little. Straighten the elbows a little bit more and connect the lower tips of your shoulder blades back towards the mid-back. Spread the hands and imagine you're pressing down on the air in front of you. So this is how it's going to feel in your down dog, or how we prefer it to feel, rather than this position in the down dog. Sliding and scooping the shoulder blades onto the back. Wonderful. Releasing the arms down. And just come out of this. So you can curl your shins around. Come onto your hands and knees. Place the hips above the knees and the wrists underneath the shoulders. A little bit of tone to the front of the body. Drop the little channel between your shoulder blades down, so the heart drops down as you exhale and the shoulder heads jut up. And you might even feel a wrinkle of the skin there. Press into the earth, spread the shoulder blades and flush out that little hollow. Exhale, drop that point between your shoulders down, shoulder heads jut up. Inhale, press into the palms, lift and flush. One more time, exhale. Inhaling. Lovely. Walk your hands another hand forward. Lift your hips a little bit and dive your chest and chin to the floor. Keep the feet anchored. This is the exhale. Inhale, glide through. Exhale, lift. And come back. Modified channel. And again, inhale, coming up. Lift your hips a little bit to counterbalance the weight of your upper body as you come down. Exhale. Slide your ribcage through. Inhale. Exhale, draw back. One more time. Each breath flows into the next. Inhale. Exhale, experiencing this sliding and gliding that the fascia enables us to do. Coming up onto hands and knees. Tuck your toes and float yourself up into a nice easy down dog. So the knees may be bent at this point. You may want to bend one knee and then the other, just easing into the tissues in the backs of your legs and articulating the bones of your feet. And then rising up onto the balls of your feet as you inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, look slightly forward, knees are hovering. Exhale. Inhale, lift your hips, you're still high onto the toes. And exhale, stretch your heels down and away. So 4 stages. Inhale, rise up onto the balls of the feet. Exhale, bend your knees, then hover. Inhale, lift your tailbone, be high on the toes. Exhale, sink your heels. Soften your knees and walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're going to be standing at the back of your mat here. Let your head go, folding forward. Just gently nod and shake your head. Feel how the axis and axial bones glide against one another. Might feel a little crunchy, might feel nice and smooth. And pressing down to the legs and the feet. Keep the chin in. Lead with your heart as you sweep your arms out and up. Good. And float your arms down by your sides. Take the weight into the left heel and raise the left arm up by your ear. Take the right hand onto the waist, so just above the hip, just below the lower ribs. You're going to root through your left heel. Stretch up and over as you inhale. Feel the space increase in the waist. And then feel that elastic rebound that the fascia absorbs as you come back. Slide the hand onto the rib cage. Lift up and over. And there's this little elastic rebound. It's really strong and quite tough, the fascia. Slide the hand around the shoulder blade, lifting up and over. Feel how the liver, part of the stomach and the lung glides through. And then release it down and release your right arm down by your side. Lift up and over. Bend both knees. Start to curl. It's that same movement we did in our cross legs. So drift around, navel stays lifted towards the spine. The right arm helps to bring you all the way up. And release the arm down. Anchor yourself through your right heel. Float the right arm up by your ear. Take the left hand onto the waist, just above the hip, but below the rib cage. Inhale. Reach up and over. Feel that lengthening. Feel that gliding action. And then the elastic recoil that the fascia provides. Hand onto the rib cage. Lift up and over. Inhale. Exhale, recoil. Hands around the shoulder blade. Feel how the lung, rib cage moves, glides outside the lung. And release down and bring the left arm down. Lift up and over, bend both knees. Navel to spine, let the left arm drift across. You do a big full circle. Release the arm down. Great. Come to stand at the front of your mat. Place your feet hip distance apart. Take a big inhale as the arms sweep out and up. Exhale, fly forward and touch the earth. Lift and lengthen your heart. And step up with your left toes into your lunge. Lower your back knee down to the floor softly. Press into the front foot and float the arms out into this wide V shape. Spiral around the spine as you turn your heart towards the right knee. Reach up to the tips of your fingers. Float the left hand to the floor, the right arm rises. Glide and slide the shoulder blades down the back. Take the right hand inside of the foot. Pivot on the left knee as the shin crosses the mat. Lean into your right shoulder, left arm rises. Pushing into your front foot, come up, shoulders above the hips. It's something like a warrior two on your knee. Look towards your left fingers as you drift over. Turn your right palm, maybe looking up here. Use your waist and core muscles to come all the way back up. And then taking the arms either side of your front foot. Again, just pivot around on the knee, lift your front toes, walk your hands back. Ardha Hanumanasana. Pulling the heel back. Make sure the back of the neck is long. Come back to the little movement of your body as you breathe. It's providing a little pulse. Walking yourself back onto the foot. Lift your back knee and raise your right arm up so you're in a lunge with a twist. And then the arm comes over, hands come to the floor, step back into a high plank. Lower knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Inhale, glide through lengthened toes. Exhale, tuck toes. Downward facing dog. Soften the elbows. Take the weight into the roots of your fingers and the pads of your fingers. So perhaps you can remember that sensation of these down dog arms when we were sitting. And just to feel that perhaps a little more, imagine you were coming forward into plank. Come forward a couple of inches with the fronts of the shoulders. Bend the elbows wide. Scoop the armpits forward so there's this external rotation. And then push away from the roots of the fingers as you straighten the arms a little. The shoulder blades are spreading. Wonderful. Walk the feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. And come all the way up to standing, leading with your heart, sweeping your arms out and up into this wide V shape. Come forward again as you exhale, fly to the earth. Lift and lengthen your heart. Step back with your right toes and softly lower the back knee to the floor. Floating your arms out and up here. And then rotate the chest towards your front knee and reach up. Imagine that the tips of your fingers were magnetized. Float the right hand to the floor. The left arm is rising. So you're in a little twist here. And then take the left hand inside of the foot. Pivot on your right knee. Lean into the knee with your left arm and raise your right arm up. I'm going to show you both sides, front and back. It's not too confusing. Come all the way up, shoulders above the hips. It's a warrior two. Look towards your right fingers as they maybe drift to the floor. Slide the shoulder blades down. Keep the back of your left knee moving forward and then push into the foot as you come back up. Circle the arms either side of your front foot. Back toes tucked behind the knee, and you're going to walk the hands back as you lift your left toes, drawing the heel back towards you. A couple of breaths here. Walking yourself back onto that left foot. Take the right fingertips in line with the toes. As you lift the back knee, float your left arm up. Circle the arm to the floor, hand to the floor. Step back into a high plank. Lower knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Gliding through, inhale. Lift up toes, downward facing dog. So maybe a couple of down dog press ups here. You're going to hold the shape of this inverted V. So rather than coming forward into a plank, keep your tailbone lifted. It's the pinnacle of your pose. Bend the elbows wide and imagine the hairline was coming to the floor. Exhale. Inhale, push back up. And again, exhale. Inhale, push back up. One more time. Exhale. Inhale, push back up. And then walk your feet forward towards the front of the mat. Lovely, coming all the way up to standing as you inhale. And then floating your arms around and down. Just turning to the side so you can see this. You're going to slide your left foot to the back and outside. So I'm kind of sliding on the outer foot here. And the left arm comes through. Maybe this arm comes all the way over. So this lovely lateral stretch. And the right fingertips might join also. Coming back up. You're going to lift the knee. Open up the arms. It's your left knee that you're lifting here. And then dive back into a high lunge. Soften the back knee. Draw the pelvic bones towards one another. Spin the heart towards the right and reach up. Float the left hand to the floor back into your twisted lunge. Reach the arm back as you exhale, and we're going to circle the arm. Inhale. 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And take the hand to the floor. Step back into a high plank. You could move through chaturanga, up dog, or stay with me. Knees, chest and chin. Glide through, lengthen toes, inhale. Lift navel, tuck toes, downward facing dog. Soften the elbows. Float your right leg up behind you. And bend the knee through as you step the foot in between the hands. Press into the foot. Float your arms out and up once again. Spin the heart this time in the opposite direction. As the left heel comes down, we're in a warrior 2 here. Scoop the armpits forward. And then again, just turn the wrists and the palms outwards. And fly the fingers out on the diagonal. The tips of your shoulder blades are drawing down towards the center of the back. So you have that drawing down towards the center. As you straighten up your front knee, you might reach out a little bit. And then float your right hand onto the shin. Turn this top arm, this left palm, towards the wall behind you. Stay connected in your core, so between pubis and navel. And imagine you're pushing back a heavy curtain. So you might start to open up across the front of that shoulder joint, spinning the heart towards the sky. And then coming all the way back up. Turning your palm towards your own cheek. Bend your right knee, right hand slides onto the foot. And maybe the left arm comes over. Couple of breaths here. Float the fingertips to the floor. Turn your right toes in. Prasarita Padottanasana. Navel stays lifted. Heart and crown of the head fall towards the earth. Keep the backs of the knees soft. Invite the weight into the outer edges of your feet. yourself back around towards your right foot. Step back into a downward facing dog. And maybe 3 little down dog press ups again. So keep the height of your tailbone. Hairline towards the floor as you exhale. Inhale, push back up. 2 more times. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. And walk your feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. Take an inhale and float your arms out and up. Release your arms down by your sides. Slide the outer edge of your right foot across. And your right arm comes under. So it's like a little scooping action there. Right arm now maybe comes all the way up and over. And the left arm could join. So like a big circle with your arms. Coming out as you draw the leg up, right knee rises. Let's keep the arms into a wide V. And step back with those right toes into your lunge. Float your chest around towards the left. Take the right hand to the floor. Left arm rises, shoulder blades draw down the back. Circle the arm back as you exhale, inhale. 2 more times, exhale, inhale. 1 full round of breath, exhale. Inhale and take the hand to the floor. Step back into your high plank. Soften the elbows, lower knees, chest and chin as you exhale. Inhale, glide through. Lift your navel, tuck your toes, downward facing dog. Floating the left leg up behind you. Bend the knee through and step the foot in between the hands. Press down to the feet and float your arms out and up. Turn your chest towards the right so the back heel comes down. So in a warrior 2 with your left knee bent. Scoot the armpits forward and then turn the wrists and palms away. Reaching up and out, but at the same time drawing the tips of your shoulder blades towards the mid-spine. Begin to straighten your left leg, swing your hips back, stretch outwards, fly outwards with your hands. You come towards your Trikonasana, and then the left hand releases onto the shin. Turn this top palm away and behind. Keep a connection in your lower belly. And imagine you're pushing open a heavy curtain as you open up to the front of that pectoral muscle. Chest turns towards the sky. And coming back, turning the palm forward. Bend your left knee, slide the hand onto the foot, and maybe this top arm comes over by the cheek, or keep it vertical if that's too much for your shoulder joint. Anchor to the outer edge of your back foot. And fingertips come to the floor, turning your toes forward. So we're going to walk the hands forward and make little cups with your hands. You're stretching out to the side body. Keep the weight towards the balls of your feet. So you're not hinging too far away. And although you're stretching out, also feel that connection backwards from the tips of your fingers to your tips of your shoulder blades. Spread the shoulder blades. Engage the muscles around the shoulder blades. And then walking your hands back towards your toes. Let's go the other way and turn sideways. So walk your fingers so they're pointing behind you. And see if you can reach through your legs towards the back of your mat. And beyond. Navel lifts towards the spine. You could even plant the palms down for a little bit more traction, maybe release the head and the neck. And start to walk your hands back a little bit further forward. Walk yourself all the way over to your left foot and step back into your downward facing dog. Couple of breaths here. Lovely. Walk your feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. And you're going to stay folding forward here. Feet are hip distance apart. Bring your left heel to your right heel, so the left toes are turning out like a Charlie Chaplin foot. Bend both knees. Left hand comes onto the foot. Engage your core, so lift your navel. Root down through your right leg. And as you come up, slide the left foot up the inner thigh through your tree pose. Firm the inner thigh of your supporting leg. So there's a relationship there between your foot and your thigh. Might enable you, the foot to stay here. Hands to the heart in prayer. Lift your gaze along the horizon. Perhaps we're going to float the arms into this V shape. Scoop the armpits forward. And if you want to take another lateral stretch, reach up to the right side of the body. Lift the ribcage off the waist. And it's as if you're coming up and over. So there's a little side bend, left hand just releasing there as I fall out. And the left arm comes up again. I'm just going to turn sideways again. Step your left foot back, place the heel down. And wiggle your right foot slightly to the right side of the mat if you need a little bit more width here. So this is a warrior one pose, back heel anchored. Rotate the chest towards the right. Take the left hand to the floor, the right arm is rising. So it's the same twist, but the back heel is down this time. Maybe that top arm wraps around the waist. And the fingers come underneath the pelvic bone to give that hip bone a little lift as you draw your right hip back in space. Release the hands to the floor, fingertips to the floor. Maybe begin to straighten that front leg a little, forehead to shin. And then re-bend the knee. Swivel up your back heel here. Lay your belly on your thigh and reach your arms by your sides. Lift the back heel. So it's almost as if you're going to lift that back leg off. It's a preparation for a warrior three. We're not going to do that today. This is probably enough. So back heel lifts. Float the fingertips to the floor. And draw the left knee to the outside of your right foot and come and sit down. So you're going to have your right foot over the top. Give yourself a moment to settle. And float both arms out and up. Twist towards the right and reach up. And then you can let the left hand float either onto or to the outside of the knee, right thumb behind you. But you've already created the twist from your internal musculature rather than relying too much on yanking yourself around against the knee or the floor. Let's turn the gaze towards the back shoulder, lower chin towards the armpit. Drop your right sit bone down and you might have a sense of this fascial sheath that wraps around the back. It comes up to the back of the neck and around towards the chin. Fascia connects everything to everything else. It's the pervasive connective tissue that runs even through the muscle fibers. It has nerve cells, ear cells. cells that retain huge amounts of liquid and water. Floating yourself around. Take the hands to the other side. And we now understand that fascia has much more of an importance in the transference of energy, biomechanics of the body. And coming back. Lovely. So just lean back. You could cross the ankles. You might be able to flip over the shins or not and step back into a downward facing dog. Just stretch out the knees. You can paddle the legs, whatever feels good. Hold your down dog or flow through a vinyasa if that's useful. Just letting go of everything you've done, everything that's to come. And come back home to your down dog as if you just stepped onto your mat for the first time. And walk your feet forward towards the backs of your wrists. The feet are hip distance apart. Bend your knees and bring your right heel to the left heel and turn the toes out, right toes out. So little Charlie Chaplin foot there. Take your right hand onto the ankle. Lift your navel, think of lifting the navel and rooting down to the left leg, and just let the doing leg slide up the trunk. Firm the inner thigh of your supporting leg so perhaps the foot stays. Bring your hands into prayer position and find a point on which to fix your gaze. Maybe the arms come into this wide V shape. And you can lift up through the left side of the body. Rib cage comes off the waist. Feel that sliding and gliding over the liver, part of the stomach, the lung. And then coming all the way back. Right arm rises. You're going to step back with your right foot. And find your warrior one. So I'm going to stand to the side and that stays there. Back heel is down. Float the chest towards the left. Place the right hand to the floor. Left arm rises. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Maybe wrap the top arm around the waist and tuck the fingertips underneath the right pelvic bone. So you can lift the pelvic bone up a little bit and draw the left thigh bone back. So it's a little dance between the opening of the chest and the hips in opposition. Float the hands to the floor. Maybe take a little hamstring stretch, forehead towards the shin. Bend your front knee, swivel up the back heel. So if you look at that back foot, it's pointing forward. Belly is on the thigh. Press down to the left leg to receive the uplift as you sweep the arms down by your sides. And then lift your back heel. It's as if you're about to power yourself onto that left leg, but we don't today. We're just going to stay with the prep. It's a great pose in its own right. Lengthen the tailbone. Float the fingertips to the floor. Draw the right knee to the outside of your left foot and come to sit down. So you're going to have your left foot over. Give yourself a moment to settle down through both sit bones. And float the arms out and up. Rotate towards the knee. Reach up, stretch up. So you can feel the muscles that you would use to come into the twist. Float the hand, right hand onto knee, left thumb behind you. Turn your gaze towards the back shoulder and lower the chin towards the armpit. Good. Drop down through your left sit bones. If you can feel that fascial sheath, that wrap. So kind of a wrapping action of the connective tissue also. If you took all the organs, all the fluids, bones, joints and ligaments out of your body, you would still end up with the shape of you, the fascia. Let's float ourselves around into a little counter twist. Hands come to the floor, maybe you look back. And coming all the way back up, crossing the ankles. Flip over or make your own way back into a downward facing dog. So just stretching out the legs, pedaling out the legs here. Maybe vinyasa, if you like, knees, chest and chin. Grew into your cobra and back into your downward facing dog. Floating your right leg up behind you. And we're going to step the foot in between the hands and lower your back knee to the floor. Take your hands over to the right side and see if you can just drop this entire shape over to the right. So you're going to be sitting on your right sit bone. Shin is almost parallel to the top edge of the mat. Your back knee is bent here. This is a kind of variation on the pigeon. And then the hands might come forward. You might even lower down onto the forearms. It's quite a movement through the sacrum here. If your lower back doesn't like it, you could come into your own pigeon pose. Couple of breaths. The weight pouring into your right thigh bone. Sliding your left leg around, cross the shin in front, draw the heels a little bit closer or just into a cross-legged position, whatever works for you. Actually, we'll do that rather than Siddhasana. And walk the hands forward. If you feel your sit bones are lifting, press away from the tips of the fingers and root your sit bones back. You might be higher here, and that's fine. You might plant the palms, soften the elbows, maybe let the head go. And start to walk your hands back towards you. Take the tips of the toes to the floor and the hands behind the knees. Lift the elbows, lean back. Come into a half boat pose. You could release the arms if you wish. Cross an ankle, flip over, or make your own way back into down dog. Hold your down dog or take a vinyasa. Couple of breaths. Float the left leg up behind you. Bend the knee through and step the foot in between the hands. Lower your back knee down. Take the hands over towards the left. And then this whole structure just drops over into the left sit bone. I've got my front foot flexed to protect the ankle and the knee. Organise this back leg so it's as comfortable as it can be. Then make your way forward, maybe hands, maybe forearms. Lengthening through both the sides of the body, the inner seam of your spine. Couple of breaths here. Some of you may make it even further down. Mind has wandered. Just keep your mind the focus of your breath. And starting to make your way back up out of this. Circle your right leg around, coming into a cross-legged position. Another forward fold, stretch the arms forward, root the sit bones back, the palms can plant, the elbows could soften. If you've gone a little bit too far, then come up a little bit. The sensation wants to be interesting rather than overwhelming. And a place where you can be still. So notice the temptation to fidget here. Notice perhaps even any resistance to being here in stillness. Very little distraction. Of course, the mind will throw up plenty distractions for us. And start to make your way up out of this. And coming on to the tips of the toes again, hands behind the knees, boat pose. Maybe the hands are going to slide up the calf muscles, so squeeze the elbows towards the outer legs. Hands could slide up. You might fall out of this, so please be careful there's nothing behind you to hit your head on. Big toe joints are touching. Spin the heels slightly apart. Lift the heart as you gaze up. And then crossing the ankles, make your way back into your last down dog. Stretching out your legs. Anything that feels good here. And lower your knees to the floor, flatten your feet, coming into a child's pose. Let's roll ourselves up from the base of the spine. Tracing the fingertips along the mat back to your knees, and imagine you're leaning against a wall. Bring the knees together here, sink the hips to one side and stretch your legs out in front of you. Pull the heels up a little bit so the knees are bent. Maybe take the fingertips to the floor, lift your hips and swing your sit bones back a little bit. So you're more towards the fronts of your sit bones than your tailbone. Raising your arms, there's that rooting action through your sit bones. Peace fingers come around the inside of each big toe. Draw the arm bones and the leg bones back into their sockets. And keeping the lower belly attached to the thigh. So this may be your Paschimottanasana, where you could start to stretch the legs forward. Maybe even releasing the upper body. The outer edges of your feet are drawing back towards the outer shins. Try not to pull on the big toes too much. Hashi in Sanskrit translates as the west. So we're stretching the west of the body, which is the back of the body in yoga. So not just the backs of the legs, but the muscles that run either side of the spine, into the back of the neck, base of the skull. And our parasympathetic nerves evolve from the sacrum and the cranium. So these two parts are being stimulated here, making this a calming pose. reach forward and come all the way up. And circle the arms behind you. Just bring the legs together now so they're a little snugger, and take the hands as wide as your mat, fingers are pointing forward. As you exhale, you're going to collapse your heart and your navel and let the shoulder heads come forward and jut up. And there's a little internal rotation here in the upper arms. Keep that internal rotation as you press into the hands. Slide the heart up the chest, point the toes. Inhale. Exhale, curl back, flex the feet, let the shoulders come up by the ears. Keep that internal rotation, press into the hands, point the toes as the heart glides up. Maybe one more time. Exhaling, shoulder heads jut forward, little internal rotation in the upper arms, flex the feet. Inhaling, pointing the toes, press into the hands, lift your hips as if the toes were to come to the floor. And then release down. Well done. Draw your feet towards you, wrapping the arms around the fronts of the shins. Let your back round, let your navel hang back. And then slide the belly up the thighs, draw your spine tall, shoulder heads down. Maybe come onto the tips of the toes. Lower your gaze and close your eyes, and maybe the toes float off. So you're just balancing on your sit bones here in Cosmic Egg. Slide the legs forward, reaching the arms up, and curl your way down onto the earth. Let's draw the right knee towards the chest. Take the right arm up onto the floor by your ear. Left heel comes slightly across the mat, and then you can take a one-legged twist. Knee comes across. Maybe the left hand guides the knee here. Coming all the way back. Release the right knee, release the right arm down. Draw your left knee up. Left heel comes slightly across the mat. Left arm comes up by your ear. Roll yourself across. Take the hand onto the knee. One-legged simple twist. And just take this as far as feels comfortable. We don't want to be overstretching here. It's a neutralizing pose. Coming back. Stretching the leg forward. Bring your left arm down by your side. Make sure you're comfortable and warm. And just make any little movements that make you feel about 10% more comfortable than you think you can be. Take a couple of conscious breaths, and with each exhalation, let any holding, any tension flow out of the body and into the earth. Letting go of everything that you've done. Giving yourself these last few minutes to receive the benefits of your efforts today. Shavasana is the pose of integration. course, you may stay here a little longer. If you wish to close your practice with me, then bring your mind back into the physical body. Come back to the breath. Is the body breathing, or are you breathing the body? Or could it be both? Each breath connects us to the present moment. We truly follow the breath that's happening right now. It's impossible to be anywhere else. Each inhale, receive the moment. Each exhale, the moment has already passed. So maybe roll your head from side to side and stretch out your fingers and your toes, just making sure you're back inside your skin. You can roll yourself over to the right side. And take your left hand onto the floor by your face. And with your eyes closed and in no hurry, make your way back to a comfortable seat. Bring your hands to your heart in prayer. Bow your head towards the tips of your fingers and gently open your eyes here. And when you're ready, gently raise your gaze. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Have a blessed day. I'm here again next Wednesday, so I hope some of you can join me. Take care.